What is one thing you wish women over 50, let's say 50, did more of?
I'd like them to do more questions of themselves and just keep questioning and getting to the root of who they are. Just really giving themselves the time and the space. And I'm saying that because I'm one of the people that didn't even put myself on a calendar before. Now I'm on the calendar, and I get to be with me from 1 to 2, and maybe that's journaling or asking questions or whatever. I never did that in my whole life, but I'm in my so I can do anything I
You are
want,
not.
anytime I want.
Stop it.
Oh,
Stop it right
yeah.
now.
Well,
Damn.
Listeners, if you are not watching, Lisa and our jaws are on the floor right now. I had no idea.
Oh, really? Well, I certainly
There's
know I am.
no way. There's no way. Yeah. None of us have any excuse, for God's sakes. Welcome to Drinks with the Girls. Conversations for women over 40 around connection, change, and the power of female friendship.
Living well with stories to tell. I'm Karen, and this is Lisa.
We are moms and solopreneurs stepping into our own, diving into real conversations about things that matter to women in midlife.
We're here to spill the tea on everything that affects women in their 40s and beyond. Topics like loss and grief, changing relationships, launching kids, menopause, and reinventing ourselves in midlife. We are here to tackle it all.
Connect with us through a blend of our lived experiences, our friendship, the memory of our moms, plus a collection of real stories, honest conversations, and engaging interviews that will make women over 40 feel seen and remind them that they're not alone on this journey called life. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Drinks with the Girls. We were just chatting before we hit record that I am very excited about this topic today because we have not had a guest on to talk specifically about this. And I'm going to leave you hanging like I love to do. I'm going to let you know that I am drinking a glass of 2020 Sangiovese from our local winery, Myrtle Creek. By the way, my mom and dad's wedding.
I can't see it, babe. Move it towards your... There you go. Oh, pretty with the little gold band at the top. I think I've seen those before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are you drinking, Lisa?
Well, after the disaster that was the last episode, it may have recorded before or after this one where I upended my drink on my computer and just started throwing shizzle in there until I had something I could drink. Man. I decided to just go straight forward and stick with an old favorite, which is my beloved Sparkle Hops. And I got myself the Aussie flavor, which is the one I really like. So it's going for the adaptogens. Ooh. It's in a can. It's to the side. Oh, speaking of which, I better put my computer. This is what saved me. For y'all on YouTube, if you can see this. So I had one of these keyboard covers on it, and Karen lived through it with me. That literally saved me from frying my computer. So highly recommend coming to Amazon near you.
All
Patricia,
right.
Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're drinking?
Well, I'm drinking ice cold water, and it's exactly what I want to be drinking right now, to be honest. I put some lemon juice in it also, which really is nice. But I'm just so thrilled to be here because, as you know, I'm like a groupie of you two because your show is fabulous. It should be in the top 1% of the show that everybody should listen to. Right up there, yep. That's the truth. Because you're such lovely, wonderful, down-to-earth girls, and then you play off each other so well. So I'm anxious to find out how you play off of each other during this one.
Buckle up.
We're going to throw you right into the mix, Patricia.
I'm Patricia Noel Drain, and I'm the author of 14 books. And it's not that I sell these books because I'm not a writer like John Grisham, but I'm a teacher, and I just have to teach through writing my books and my podcasts and doing all that kind of stuff. I realized that my mission in life really is to help people really figure out who they are, what they're all about, and then learn how to make an income with that. Because why shouldn't you learn how to just use your gifts and your talents and your skills that you came into the world with?
Preach.
And make an income.
What we're talking about.
And that's the piece that, you know, we haven't ever found a guest that specifically talks about that. You know, we talk about finding your purpose. We talk about how even though you're over 50, it's not too late to invent yourself. You know, we talk about using your gifts, but we don't talk specifically about how to turn that into income. So that's why this is going to be a great episode. I'm very, very excited. So you mainly work with women over 50, yes?
Yes, I do that because I just started watching and noticing who was coming to me for help. I used to think, well, even when I owned my own recruiting firm, I would watch these women come in and they were 40 and 50 and 60 now, and they were saying, what should I be when I grow up, Patricia? I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I felt so sorry for them that I wrote a book called What Should I Be When I Grow Up, now that I'm 40, 50, 60. But it wasn't enough. I had to keep digging, I noticed. And so then they'd come in and I'd put them through a process, because women, we are so hard on ourselves.
Yes,
we do it
are.
all. We have all kinds of skills and talents, but boy, can we be mean to ourselves, and me included. So I just had to start really paying attention to who these people were. So yes, I work with women entrepreneurs really over 50.
What do you find is kind of, I mean, when you take on a client or they come to you and they say, you know, what do I want to be when I grow up? Like, what do you think's behind that? What do you think the impetus is for them reaching
Oh, I know
out?
what it is. They get to a place, all of us get to a place, happened to me in my 40s also, where we get at a crossroads and we don't know what to do. And so we think, well, I could take that path, but that doesn't sound good. Well, at least it's comfortable and I'd get insurance. Or I could take this path, and that's really scary to take that path, because that means I don't even know if I can make $1. Yeah, it's that kind of thing that happens. But what you have to do is you have to find your ingredients. That's what I figured out for me. And I put it in my book, What Should I Be When I Grow Up? Would you want me to share my 7 ingredients with you
Yes,
that I came up
please.
with?
We like a good
Okay.
recipe here on Drinks with the Girls.
So when I started thinking about it, you see, I was interviewing everybody because we moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm going out interviewing at car dealers because I heard they made a lot of money. Then I went to insurance because they made a lot of money, and I'm not good at anything, at this point. And so people would ask me questions, and I'd think, well, they definitely really like me. And so I'd come home and I'd tell my husband I went on 20 interviews, and he'd say, did you get an offer? No. But we had lunch together. She was really fun. Yeah, I didn't get the whole thing, what you were supposed to do. So one day I got, all of a sudden, after I was probably neglected and rejected for maybe the 50th time, I don't know, I finally thought, I better figure out for me what it is that I want and then go look for that. So the way I did it, to make it simple, is to come up with my ingredients that I absolutely didn't just want in a job. I needed this in a job. So here's mine. Maybe you'll identify. Number 1, I really needed a professional atmosphere because I'm a very dressy person. I wear lots of pearls and that kind of stuff. So I needed a professional atmosphere. Number 2, I needed flexibility in my schedule because I had children. I wanted to go see their games and things. Number 3, I wanted unlimited income potential. I did not want to sit next to somebody that wasn't even doing the work that I was, and she was making the same. Number 4, I wanted the opportunity to help people, because if I'm not helping a person, then it's not fun for me. I'm not seeing their ahas, Number 5, I wanted to use my communication skills somehow to use that. Number 6, I wanted an environment in which I'd feel productive, so that when I walked out of the office every day, I really knew I did a good job. And then the 7th one, and the one I did not get, was location, because I wanted it to be 10 minutes from home. And when you live in Scottsdale, you don't usually work there. You go down into Phoenix. And so I didn't get that one. But when the guy hired me at an executive recruiting firm, he said, why do you think you'd be so good at this job? And I said, well, I don't know yet because I haven't ever done the job, but I'm going to be interviewing people and placing them in wonderful careers. And so it matches all my ingredients. And he said, what ingredients are you talking about? I said, the ones I have in my pocket, because I hadn't written the book yet. But I just know it's helped so many people as the years have gone by. So did you identify with any of those ingredients?
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, the world went insane and turned to remote work. So now everybody's 10 minutes away from, from their office.
That's right.
So there you go.
That's right.
I love that idea of ingredients because when you first said that, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be like this very generalized, 7 things you need if you're trying to, pivot, or you're trying to figure out, what you want to do next. But those ingredients were very specific to you. And so I think it's important, because it's like everybody needs to figure out, well, what are my personalized ingredients?
That's right.
And I love that you said I need a professional environment because I like to wear pearls. I like to get cutesied up, my words. But so I think that's a really good lesson in like self-discovery, even. Because if we are, by the time we get to this stage in life, if we are trying to make a pivot, or we are trying to create a business maybe, or do something new, that's important to know those things about ourselves, like our values, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right.
It reminds me, sorry, I'm just going to keep blabbering on, but it reminds me when I was trained as a counselor. My education was a counselor. I was an elementary school counselor for a while, and then I stayed home to raise my kids when they were born. So I was out of the workforce for, I think, 17 years. And when I tried to go back to my traditional, what I was used to, a counseling position, a school position, something like that, it was very difficult. Especially because technology had grown so much from, the early 2000s to, 2015. And so my self-esteem really took a hit. I started thinking, I don't even know what I'm good at anymore. I've been chasing little kids around and driving them around. It's like, what, am I even good at anything anymore? I'm too old. I've missed my chance. Right. So what do you think? How do you think? Because I have a suspicion I'm not alone in that feeling for women. But what do you think we could do to change that? Or what have you seen that has helped women kind of change that mindset?
Well, because I've had that mindset, and we kind of match, because I was out for 15 years as a school teacher and then going back. And then, of course, these people just looked at me and would laugh. I didn't know they were laughing at me, to be very honest. I thought I was really somebody that everybody would want. Who couldn't want somebody that's going to give 100%, But I got really tricked into that. And of course, when I started at this job that he finally hired me, it was straight commission. And so when I called my dad to tell him I got a job, he said, "Oh my God, you've been interviewing your whole life. This is perfect for you. What kind of money are you going to make?" And I said, "Well, that's the best part. I'm not going to make any. But when I do, I guess I'm going to make a lot, and it's going to be exciting." Well, he said, "Esther, she's doing volunteer work and she thinks she has a job." Well, it turned into a very wonderful career for a long time. And so as I ran into women that felt just like me at that point, that turning point, I literally knew how to help them, because I could say to them, "I have some questions I'd like to ask you," because it's really important to understand that you have to ask questions of yourself to know what you don't want and to know what you do want. Or otherwise, you're just heading out like I did, going to a car lot, for God's sake, and interviewing there. They did laugh at me, and they should have. So the questions are really important. I'm going to read you 3 questions just out of my, it's another book that I wrote called Discovering Your Core, because it's my mission to help people get to the core of who they are and what they're about. So here's one. And you guys can answer it if you'd like. This is a good one. What subject lights you up when you talk about it? In fact, it lights you up so much, you don't even know when to stop talking about it. You want to answer it, Lisa?
That's a really good one.
That is a good one.
I think so.
There's so many. I don't know if I could just narrow it down to one. I definitely, the idea of helping people and making the world a different place. And I have to tell you, okay, here we go. Here's the first rabbit hole. This reminds me a lot. I'm sure you've heard of this book. What Color is Your Parachute? That old school book.
Oh, yes,
back in the day.
That's the one I worked in.
Yeah, but what I really like about it is I feel like women would read that book and be like, well, but I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not this. Like, we're really good at finding the ingredients we don't have and not so good at finding the ingredients
that's right.
that we do have, for sure.
Do you know what the first thing that popped in my head was?
What?
Chickens. So, Patricia, I just became
interesting.
You didn't just become, this whole delusion.
Let me finish. I was going to say 2 years ago. So it's not like I've been a chicken tender for 20 years.
Okay.
2 years ago, we hatched chickens. And so now I own chickens and raise them and love them and snuggle them and all that stuff. But literally that was the first, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
And listeners, again, to set the bar here,
Well,
she's not talking about chicken tenders, like turning them into chicken tenders.
No.
She's a chicken person that tends to the chicken.
That's right. The
Just
verb.
in case you were a little confused.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Yes,
You're
we do not
madly
eat
in
chicken
love with
tenders in
chickens.
this house.
We're chicken flockers.
here's two more questions that I'll ask your audience, and I won't ask you. I won't put you on the spot for these two, but they're important questions to be asking yourself. What is an activity that you do that you get lost in the moment? That's a huge question, because if you find yourself writing and writing and writing, and all of a sudden you look up and it's 2 hours later, that's a clue, people. So pay attention to that. And then here's my question for me at this time and in my life. What would you regret if you didn't accomplish it? And it was really important for me to get clear on, I would regret not writing this last book that I'm writing, which is called, Your Next Chapter Will Begin When You Decide to Begin Your Chapter. That's what life is about, or chapters in a book. And I love writing about that kind of thing because I had to go through all of it myself.
What would you say, Patricia, to the women who, because we have all these natural gifts, and I do this to myself sometimes, because I feel like I surround myself with such incredible women, multifaceted, multi-talented. And then I kind of look at myself and I'm like, well, what are my gifts? Do I even have any gifts? And I think a lot of women say, well, that's just how I am. That's just part of my personality, or that's just me. But how can we take those and turn those into dollar signs, or turn those into money in our bank account? Is there a way to do that?
Yes. Yeah, that's why I took it further than just a book. I took it into a 6-hour process, because I watched myself working with women doing the same thing, finding the same stuff, discovering their talents, their natural skills, and then teaching them how to make an income with it. And it's easier than most people think, but most people think you have to go out and make 100,000, your first year. That's probably not going to happen. It could happen. But I'm going to give you an exercise to do for you too. This is something I had to do also, and I hated doing it. But this is the one exercise I can say that I have had the biggest results of anything that I've given people to do. Most of the time, we don't know what it is that we're really good at. You just said it. You said, do we even have gifts? Biggest mistake I ever made was naming my course, Your Gift is Your Niche. Bad thing, because people don't think they have gifts. Mm-hmm. And so I really struggled with trying to change that, but I thought, no, they are gifts. People think a gift is being able to play the piano, or being able to be really good with numbers, or maybe being an artist. No, my gift is knowing how to ask questions and listening to answers they weren't even telling me, because I know how to do that. And then strategizing with how can you make an income by doing that. So, but this is what I'd like you to do.
My name is Karen Shatafian, and I am a shameless coffee addict and empowerment coach for women, and my love language is authenticity. My mission is helping women unapologetically design a life they're in love with. Because what the hell are we waiting for? My website, KarenShatafian.com, has all my coaching packages and free offers, like my Midlife Reclamation Guide. In it, you'll find tools to help you decide how to create the most inspired and empowered version of yourself and your life. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram talking about ways women can show up for themselves after decades of showing up for everyone else. Join me as we throw off the shackles and live our best freaking lives. See the show notes for all the details. Cheers.
I want you to go out and ask 10 people this question. What do you think I am really good at doing? What do you think I'm really good at? And be sure to ask people that know you, of course. And you're going to be surprised, because you're going to get 10 of the best compliments that you've ever received. And you're going to not even know some of them, because I thought I really knew myself very well. And when I went out and I asked this gentleman that's known me for years, I said, what do you think I do really well? And he looked at me, he said, you've got to be kidding. Well, you make people feel so comfortable within 30 seconds of knowing you. And I said, oh, well, that was nice of you to say. And he said, you don't know that about yourself? And I said, no, I guess I didn't. And he said, well, then why is the waitress sitting at our table right now? She's supposed to be waiting on tables, and she's with us eating. But
that's
when
funny.
you ask these 10 people, I think you're going to just love what you're going to hear. And maybe you're going to have an aha about yourself like I did. I didn't know that was a talent of mine, that I made people feel comfortable right away. So
I love
would
that
you two be
idea.
up for doing that?
Oh yeah, I love that idea.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. I've
Good.
done something similar, but and it's pretty not scary, but it's very ballsy. I felt like, but what I did was I emailed people and I said, you know, what do you, I didn't say what do you think I'm good at, but I said, how would you describe me? You know, give me three words. How would you describe me? And
Okay.
that was
That's a good one.
really eye-opening and super cool, you know. And it's just like it's really neat. I'm all for self-discovery and knowing ourselves, but it's really cool to see yourself through people that you care about, through their eyes and how they see you. But I love that
That's
question.
right.
Is like, what do you think I'm good
That's
at?
a good
Because I
one,
think
Karen.
that takes my question deeper, right? And for this purpose, like if I was trying to figure out what my next chapter is, I would want to know that. What am I good at? What do you think I'm good at?
Yeah. Now, you mentioned about income, and so I don't want to just disregard that part of it, because I work with so many people and I watch them create these wonderful things. Like one of the girls that went through that whole process, she came out and she was the gluten-free cookbook writer. Now, who knew that she was? I didn't know that. And another one came out as the dog groomer, the traveling dog groomer, because see, they found out about themselves, what they really love to do. And I watched my niece, and she was in that, and now I don't know knitting from crocheting, so I don't know what I'm saying, but she either crocheted something and it turned it into a little animal. And then she crocheted something else, another animal. Now she's making all this money out at fairs and different things like that, selling her little animals. It goes on forever and ever, but you've got to get to the core of what you like to do. Because I can tell you another girl that loved organizing. Oh my gosh, her closet looked fabulous. It's all coded color and all that. And so she said, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And she hated going out and doing other people's closets. So you kind of have to go try some things, and you might. She loves organizing, but only in her own house. So by the way, what she found out she really loves to do is photography. And now she's selling her photographs in Mexico for $500 each or something. It's crazy.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for going at this when you have a few more miles under the tires, right? Because you get to know yourself. I mean, I would argue that most 20-year-olds have not a clue who they really are and kind of what they're doing.
Sad.
And I think that, you know, what the fight we have at this point is the confidence piece and shutting the mean girl up in our heads. It tells us, you know, we can't do whatever. So what do you see people underestimating the most in terms of like particular strengths or wisdom? Like what is, looking out on kind of what you've been doing in the typical women that you help, what are some common themes that they're like, oh yeah, no, I can't do that. I'm not good at that.
Well, I probably couldn't even name all of the things, because women underestimate themselves so much. And we're finally getting out there. Don't you see us on TV now more? And don't you see us in politics more? You know, we're coming out. And I have underestimated themselves for a very long time, and men simply do not. They overestimate themselves. And then they start running the country, and then we got that.
And I knew we loved you, Patricia.
You know, building confidence is a whole game in itself. You know, when I used to teach little children how to build their confidence, I wrote a children's book called I Love Myself the Way I Am. And it has a song with it also. And it's so lovely, because these children, you know, I would say to them in my classroom, you're coming into a magical place now. And I'd throw confetti all over and all that stuff. It was fun. But when you get out and now you're going to the workplace, there's no confetti. And the only person that cares that you're home is your dog. You know, here she comes. Oh, she's back. It's really fun. But when you have to build your confidence one little step at a time. And the first thing you have to do is catch yourself doing something right. And then you have to say, oh, that was really cool. But because somebody else isn't going to tell you. They're not going to come up and say, you did a fabulous job today. Now you just go home and relax. That's not going to happen. But you can say that to yourself. And that's how you just start the little game of confidence building. We all lose it at some time. I should have lost my confidence many times over, just because, I'm the person that shouldn't be as confident as I am with the little bit that I really have as gifts and talents and skills and all of that. But God gave me the gift of having very healthy self-esteem. That's just a natural skill of mine. That's nice.
That is nice, because I think so often, women, and when we start out as girls, we don't get messages that build our confidence. We don't necessarily get the messages like, oh, it's good to be outspoken, and oh, you're so smart, and yes, go into math and science, or we just don't get affirming messages as we become women. So then we get to this stage in life, and it's almost, and it's kind of like what I help my clients with. It's like, it's like we look in the mirror and we're like, who the hell am I? Like, who am I? What are my gifts? As you say, Patricia, and what do I even want? Right. And so what I found as I've gotten, I'm 57, and as I've, gotten older, I realized that my idea of success has changed, and I have my own coaching business. So it's very, hit and miss, let's say. Some months are great, some months are like, ee. And so, but what I find is I keep at it because I love it, number one, but also, I want to get to that point where my bank account can give me that freedom that I want, and it can give me that flexibility that I want, right? Like, we have 6 grandkids. Our newest 2 were just born last month. And so I want flexibility to go babysit on a Tuesday, So I don't know where this is really headed, but do you see with the women that you work with that you have to maybe help them kind of shift their thinking on what success means, or what is their value when it comes to, their finances or money or what they earn? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, it's the number one problem with women. So just to give you an example, I opened my whole profession. I'm a business mentor. And when I opened it, I stepped away. I sold my executive recruiting firm, and I stepped away from it, and I thought, now what am I going to be? And I'm a natural business mentor, helping people build their businesses. And so I went into that, but I went to a NABO meeting, National Association of Women Business Owners, and I handed out little flyers because I didn't know how else to start. And I just said, you can talk to me for 6 sessions for $497. And I had 22 credit cards given to me that day. And I thought, how am I going to work with all these people? But that should have been a clue. Don't charge $497 for 6 sessions. Don't be stupid. And so that got me really started to know my own value. And here's the second time, and I want you girls to really listen. I want the audience to really hear this, because this was so shocking to me. So I'm watching a girl on stage. She's talking and doing her thing. And she said, I'm going to now enroll people in my 1-year coaching program. And I'm only taking 12. And so if you can be one of the first in the back of the room and you have to run fast, it's only $100,000. And the whole audience started to run to the back of the room at $100,000. And I thought, and I'm sitting there thinking, and you are selling yourself so cheap? What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Haven't you been around other people that they don't even know as much as you? They aren't even as good as you at what you do. And yet they're charging a ton and getting it, and you're not. Has that ever bothered you?
Yeah. I've got 2 things. Well, I have a lot of things I want to say, but I've got a couple things. I think that you really hit the nail on the head in terms of this whole idea of women wanting to make enough money to do something, right? Have freedom, do X, right? Like Karen was saying. And I feel like men in general they want to make their first million or their first like whatever, right? Because when
Yes.
they hit that number,
Yes.
that's going to mean that they've made it and feel successful. What I see women doing is saying, they don't put a number. I want to make enough money so that I can, right? The money in and of itself
Mhm.
isn't what's meaningful. It's what that allows them to do in the future. And I know for me, that has definitely been a compass for me. And whenever I get really frustrated or bummed out that I haven't been able to do the things that I want to do, I listen to a lot of podcasts for a lot of reasons. But I think I remember I was getting really frustrated one day and I thought, these people are just telling me the same thing over and over again. And I realized, no, that's not what the lesson is here. The lesson is you are at least as smart as these people. At least. And so therefore,
Yep.
the algebraic equation is, well, if they can figure it out, I can certainly figure it out. And that was just like a lightning bolt. I thought, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. But I do think we have to kind of, tweak our thinking. And I also think that women in the back of their minds always want a contingency plan, right? That plan B thing. I think that we're always wanting to make sure, right, that everything is secure and that we've got, enough money in the bank and this and that and the other. Not that men don't do that, but I think for women in general, that's something that you talk about a lot, is that whole plan B concept. So talk to us a little bit about that and why you think that that's so important.
Well, I can say one word: COVID. There were 4.7. I wrote it down one day. 7 million people that left the job market with COVID, and none of them had a plan B. So that's what I mean by a plan B, is just having some other way, maybe a multiple stream of income of something else coming in, whether it just pays for groceries, whether it just pays for your makeup. I don't care, whatever that is. Start paying attention to a plan B. And by that, I mean, and like I say, multiple streams of income. But Karen, back to you for just 1 second. You said that you want to have freedom and to travel and see your grandchildren. But you do have to know the number that you're working towards. So if it's 100,000 a month, you have to know that. Or if it's 100,000 for the whole year, you have to kind of know that. And I've had people say, well, is there even a possibility that I can make 2,000 this month? Yeah, let me break that down for you and tell you how to do it. But you have to have a number first and then work towards that. But the multiple stream of income, really, somebody changed my mind one time when she sold a piece of furniture and she got $200 for it. And she said, I'm calling that multiple income stream my selling income stream, because there are things around this house that I can pick up every single day and I don't want them anymore. And so I said, well, that's an awesome thing. And she said, yeah, that one made the car payment. She'd show me different things. And she said, and she'd hold this up and say, and this one paid for my groceries, and this one paid for my child's movie the other day. It was $17 or something, and that's kind of a cool way of looking at multiple streams of income, isn't it? I like looking at a smaller number like that rather than saying, if I don't make $1,000 this week, I have to. No, you don't have to. You can make different streams coming in by doing all kinds of different things. But we never lay it out as a plan B and think, well, what else could I do to make money with my skill? And there's a million things you could do, but you have to find out what your skills are first. You have to find out what you enjoy. Don't do what the organizer did. She really did. She set up this huge business of organizing closets and was making a ton of money and hated every day. You don't want to do that. So it has to be something that you know and love also.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Corachella McDowell, your Midlife Pacific Northwest princess, here to guide you in the art of next leveling your life. I'm passionate about women's health and wellness in midlife, especially for moms parenting kids with unique needs like I do. I truly believe we can learn, grow, advocate, and care for the planet while taking care of ourselves and our families. And I'd love to help you do the same. And I'm beyond excited to tell you about my membership for maxed out mamas just like me, the Empowered Parent Collective. It's a space for parents to confidently advocate for their kids, build inclusive communities, educate themselves, and find balance and support along the way. To find out more about the Empowered Parent Collective, my classes, wellness offerings, parenting tips, advocacy resources, and exclusive Drinks with the Girls goodies, head to nextlevellifewithlisa.com. Let's survive and thrive in the messy middle together.
So I'm so glad that you dove right into that multiple streams of income, because a couple minutes ago you dropped the term, and I wanted to head there, because when I hear that, and I hear a lot about passive income or multiple streams of income, and I think, between this podcast and my coaching business, it's like I'm barely finding time to take a shower. And so I automatically go into this place of like overwhelm. So what are some simple, you just gave one great example. It's like looking around the house and those things that are gathering dust that we're not using, throw them on OfferUp or throw them on Marketplace or somewhere. So what are some other simple ways that women can start creating, or even like looking at what potential streams of income might be, using the skills that they already have?
Yeah, definitely making money with what you already know is the best way to go. You also want to include a thing called passive income in there. And that's not the easiest thing, by the way, to do. I thought that was going to be very simple. Once you put something together, an ebook, or my books are on Amazon. No, I'm not rich because of passive income. However, I make sure I look at it every day. What else could I create that literally I could make money while I sleep? Everything you'll hear from me comes out as a question, basically. And so you start asking these living questions. What could I do today to make $1? That's simple. That's what you start doing. And then all of a sudden you start writing things out and you go, oh my gosh. And so when I owned my recruiting business, that's when multiple streams started coming into my life. And I thought, well, what else can we do other than placing Lisa in a career? We made a lot of money from her. That's what we do. Now, what else could we do here to have because it's going to dry up someday, maybe. Maybe leases aren't going to come around. And so I started thinking, okay, we'll do resume writing and make sure that becomes successful. And so then we would charge for that, but we would also interview them at the same time. Then we had a spin-off and we started teaching people how to interview to get the job. How do they negotiate the money and all of that? So that was a nice little multiple stream. Nothing was as big as placing Lisa, don't get me wrong. But then we got to the point where, okay, we can do Saturdays with what should I be when I grow up? And that's exactly what we did. And that would be a little full workshop all the time. Now, it only made like $200, but see, that paid for the sodas for the office, So I just had to really look at it that way instead of saying, it's $200. It doesn't really matter that much. It all adds up after a while. So if you can take your skills and your talents and you're just thinking about, okay, what could I do this week to make $100 just this week? And quite honestly, you're going to be shocked. All of a sudden, I'm going to call that one person back. I'm going to go ahead and put on Facebook the something I just did, something I just wrote. I might do a FaceTime to some, it's that kind of thing that starts happening. Does that help you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you.
And I want to go back to the passive income thing. I detest that phrase, passive income, because
I do too.
In no way, shape, or form is it passive, right? You are literally
That's right.
not going
That's
to
right.
make money while you sleep. What you can do, however, is work really hard to build up something on the front end and have background income, I feel like it should be called, right? Because it's the idea of you create something, you build something up, and then you set it in motion. That can be something that you can repeat and have multiple streams of. But I feel like people think that, I still do. I'm a consultant for a company called Arbonne. That's one of my multiple streams of revenue. And it used to drive me crazy because I'd get people that wanted to join my business and I'd train them and I'd help them, and then they didn't want to work. And it was like, hold up. This is not a lottery ticket. You have to work. And I think for me, what got frustrating is I was working harder than everybody else. I'm like, this is for the birds. Nope, I want to do something. Back to your question about what are you good at and what do you like to do? And I thought I want to work on something where it only matters how hard I want to work. I don't have to be dependent on other people working just as hard as I did. And that was kind of part of my experience, because I do want more out of life. And I definitely think that a lot of women feel guilty about that, right? It took me a while to get to that point, you know, and I know Karen and I have had conversations on here about like,
Yeah.
well, who am I to want more? Who am I? Like, I have so much and this, and that, and the other. So what do you say to a woman that is at that place where they're like, oh, you know, I shouldn't want a better marriage, you know, a better business, a more productive income? What do you say to those people?
Well, I say that every single person on the planet should want more joy, more love, more everything if you can possibly get it. I mean, what is so wrong about that? I remember my dad saying to me one time, you seem to always not be as satisfied as you should. And I said, oh, I am. And I couldn't explain it to him until I heard this quote from Jim Rohn. And he said, always be very grateful for what you have while you are wanting more, or while you're, you know, enjoying the thought of having more. It's okay to do that. And I thought that's exactly what I'm going to do, is enjoy every single moment, be very grateful for everything I have, but it's okay to still want more. That's okay, you know, and you have to give yourself permission to say that. You really do. You know, when you were talking, I was thinking about something that you had said earlier about women. Some people don't want an income. Do you know that? I mean, there are women out there they don't want money. I mean, and they think it's bad, and they.
Oh, okay.
I know, but
I
it's
got
true.
you. I got you.
Yeah, they
was
think
just-
it's a bad thing to want and desire. And passive income is, to me, I'm just giving you my definition, is where you create something one time and then you get paid and paid and paid for it. Now, that's what I mean with my program, Your Gift is Your Niche. It's on Thinkific, so I don't handle the money. I don't do any of that. But if somebody buys it and I'm asleep, I get up and I have just made money with that particular item that I put on there. But I did all the work up front. But that was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And so I've been getting paid ever since. So that's what I consider passive income. Do you guys, is that what you're saying too, is your definition?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. That must be so exciting to wake up in the morning and see money in your bank account and you literally just
It
woke
is.
up and having your coffee.
But you know what's more exciting is knowing that I just helped somebody. I just helped somebody figure out what they should be when they grow up, or figure out their skills and their natural abilities, and now give them all the possibilities of how to make money with that. That's what's the best thing that happens to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back a little bit to that piece that we were talking about women not wanting, you know, income. And, you know, we've had other topics on the podcast that we've talked about how it's hard for women to want more, to ask for more, to give themselves permission to ask for more, especially when it comes to money or sex. And it's because there's so much shame wrapped around it, right? It's like, well, what does that mean about us as a woman if we want more money or if we want more sex? You know, that we've been conditioned that that's a negative thing and that we're not allowed to do that. So I think it just makes me feel so sad because, you know, like you said, there are some women who don't want more income. It's underneath all of their societal conditioning. You know, they don't feel like they're allowed to say, yes, I do want more money. I want to wake up and have $300 in my bank account while I'm asleep because I created this cool thing that's going to help somebody. Right. But we have to get out from under the shame that we've been taught that we're not allowed to want more. You know, it's bullshit. Like, yes, we are allowed to want more. And I'm so glad you said it a few minutes ago, Patricia. It's like, why not? Everybody should want more. Everybody should be grateful for what they have and also be ready to step into having more. You know, that's a powerful message from this episode, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I think so too. I think when I heard that, you know, just the fact that I can aspire to have more things and bigger things and brighter things, but be always great. I'm always grateful for what I have at the moment, as you are too. And so maybe that becomes your motto also, is I absolutely am grateful for every single thing I have as I aspire to have more. Yeah, it's a cool phrase.
I want to go back to the multiple streams of income and certain bits around that. And I think we've started talking about this, about like simple ways that women can earn income. And I like what you said about, you know, basically break it off into bite-sized chunks, right? Instead of the, oh, well, it's only $200 I'd be making. What's the point? It's like, oh, no. This paid for this, this, and this. So what are some maybe unusual or things that women don't necessarily think of that could actually become income producing opportunities? Give us some examples.
Yeah, there are so many. As I mentioned about the people that were in all of my different groups, they have branched out and done so many things. One was a bookkeeper, and she was a bookkeeper in corporate America. COVID shut her down. No plan B, goes through the process, and what is she going to do now? And it's so cool to watch women. Women are so smart. We're just so cool. I don't want to bash on men, because I do love men, but I love women. And I went to an all-girls Catholic school, if you can imagine. Had a lot of nuns telling me I couldn't do anything, let alone write a book. I mean, you definitely should never write a book. That's what one of them said when I was 12. And now I've written 14. And I think the reason I'm not selling them is because of her. I think I just decided I'm just going to write all these books. I'm not going to sell any of them. What the heck? That's another passive income stream, by the way, is Amazon. Getting an ebook out there for Amazon. You don't have to write a full 100-page book or anything. You can just do an ebook. You might be able to do something where you're just doing a master class, where maybe you're on Zoom, and Zoom is free. So you get on Zoom, and now you do a master class about something that you know that I would pay you, because I don't know what you know. Now, what would that be? I mean, in all of our cases, you guys have something that I would buy from you for sure. Arbonne, for one thing. And so when I say those kinds of things to you, what comes to your mind that, oh my gosh, that would be really easy to do a master class for 45 minutes. One of my friends, and she was in the group also through the process, she said, I came out of there with one of the most unusual things that I decided to do. And I said, what? And she said, I never thought I would do this in a million years. She's calling it, let's see, I wanted to write that down so I could tell it, feeling useful again. And she works with older adults in her community. She wants to get out of the house. She goes to these senior homes and she teaches them how to be useful again. And she does little tricks and things with her, because she's somebody that loves to do, what is that called when you paste things in a book that people love to do?
Oh, scrapbooking. What is scrapbooking for 500, Alex? Got that one.
She loves to do that. And so she starts teaching them to do that. Now, these are 80 and 90-year-old people that said, you should hear their testimonials. Now, she was going in there and she was going to do this. It's a 6-part thing that she was going to do, and she was going to do it for $600. And all of a sudden, she saw somebody else doing almost the same kind of thing in a whole other place of the world. And they're charging $2,200. She changed it to $2,200 for the 6 sessions, and she got it. So you have to be courageous enough to ask for it too. I think that's where many of us falter. I know I did, until I started owning an event business, and I watched these people selling $50,000 products and $25,000 programs. So you almost have to say to yourself, what is it that I would pay for? Because I would want more information about that. And then you start kind of going from there. Okay, then what could I teach somebody else they'd pay for? Now, when I ask somebody that, by the way, here's what they say. I have nothing that anybody would ever pay me for. And it's just simply not true. I mean, if my little niece can crochet little rabbits and little dogs and sell them and make really good money, that's pretty awesome. And she does it all in person. Well, now she's going on Marketplace and doing it also.
I want to talk about that a little bit. I know we're almost coming, close to the end of our time, but I really want to talk about the money mindset that women have. Because I thought about it earlier when you said, well, you have to know what dollar amount you're going for. So you have to already think about and be comfortable with whatever amount you're going for, whether it's $1,000 or $1 million.
Yes.
Right. So I think the way that we have been raised to think about money, and the beliefs and limiting beliefs that we have about money and what we're allowed to want, can hold us back, especially as women. So what money beliefs do you see that hold women back the most?
Well, I'll tell you one woman story. She was kind of over zestful about money. And most women aren't, but I'm just saying, you have to also know what you then have to do to get that money. So she said, I'm going to make $1 million this year. And I said, that's awesome. I said, but maybe you could just start with making just something, because she hadn't made money in 20 years. She was married to a very rich doctor. And so she wanted to really make him proud and make him mad, actually. And so she decided, okay, well, I'm going to become a millionaire this year with everything I know. Okay, what do you know? I travel and I get all kinds of really nice pottery and things like that. Okay, good. And then you're going to sell it? Are you going to sell it at a store? No, I'm just going to sell it maybe at a yard sale or something. Okay. Now, you do know if you want to become a millionaire, you're going to have to probably make around maybe 81,000 a month or something like that. And she said, I don't want you to tear me down. I don't want you to take me down. I said, I'm not. I'm trying to tell you that's the truth.
With the yard sale market.
Right. That's right. I'm just trying to be real.
Okay, quick pause. Have we talked about the Pod Squad lately?
Oh, the Pod Squad. You mean our email list /VIP lounge /digital wine club?
Exactly. So listeners, if you're not on it yet, you're basically making life harder for yourself when it comes to podcasts.
Like trying to scroll for show notes while speed walking on a treadmill. Wait, what was that link again? Oh, no. Grab the side rails.
Or pulling up that book we mentioned while you're in the Starbucks line and then realizing everybody else moved up 3 cars and now you're that woman.
We've all been there. That's why we made the Pod Squad. You'll get new episode alerts every week with direct links. Easy to listen, easy to share.
And show notes straight to your inbox. So when we drop a life-changing product, book, hot tip, or yummy new drink, you're not rummaging through your memory like a woman searching for her reading glasses when they're on top of her head.
It's organized, it's helpful, it's for you, babes.
So join the Pod Squad. The link is in the show notes. Just tap it.
Snacks, sarcasm, solidarity.
And obviously, fighting the patriarchy.
We write at dawn.
She made a lot of money, but she didn't get to her $1 million that first year. But her mindset is there at $1 million. That's good. I mean, most people's mindset aren't there, Karen, at all. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're not that far up, right? And so
100%.
if you want to make 100,000, a year, you're going to have to know how to make $8,100 come in every single month. And so then break that down. Okay, I could have 2 clients, one at $4,050 and the other at $4,050, and then I can start really realizing that I am heading towards 100,000. But see, I talked to a girl the other day, and she wanted to make 20,000 in a whole year. And I said, well, maybe I'll give that to you. Maybe I'll just gift you 20,000 because I like you so much. Because, that's thinking too little. And she has she can teach people how to speak Russian and how to speak Spanish fluently.
Oh, good
and she
Lord.
thinks she's going to
add a zero to that at least.
That's right. But we can't. How do you change that mindset? I think the only way you can do it is work the numbers like that. Is put down a number. This will give me freedom. I really think this will give me the freedom I need. And that number is 100,000. I mean, I'm just making it up. Okay, that means I absolutely have to make every single solitary month 8,100. Does that put more pressure on you? Or do you raise your price and your fee and finally say, okay, you can get into my group for $8,100, and so you only need one person? It's shocking what happens. And I'll just tell you a quick story that happened to me, because I'm still shocked about it. I'm going to Montana to do a seminar that I'm putting on myself. I have 21 people signed up because it's so expensive to fly in there. They're all mad at me because I did it in Missoula, Montana. And I just did it there because my sister lived there and I wanted to see her. So I get to Missoula. There's 21 in the room. I'm starting a brand new thing because remember the girl I told you that said 100,000 to work with her for a year? And so I decided, well, if she has the nerve, I mean, she's like 27 years old. I'm going to have the nerve to just say it. But I only have 21 people in here. Oh, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. So I stand up. I say, I have a new coaching program. It's called the Grand Diamond. I work with you as your CEO, your COO for 6 whole months. And it's 50,000. And I thought people would go, oh my God. And I signed up 4 people for that out of 21. Now, do they know me? Did they already know me? Yes, they did. But I had to have the nerve to stand up there and say it. And of course, they're going to meet with me and say, do you have payment plans? And I was ready for all of that. But what I'm saying is, if you aren't courageous enough to say it, and I wasn't, trust me, I'm the $497 girl, remember? So to say it was just like so painful for me. But then to watch their faces out there just go, okay, all right, well, that's kind of cool. Not everybody could afford it, but then the ones that could did.
I have found myself, before I work with a business coach, tripping myself up with all the bullshit stories I had in my mind about what I'm offering isn't valuable enough. Like what I have isn't valuable enough for whatever dollar amount. And I had to rework that and get to the point where it's like, oh, screw that.
Yes.
What I'm offering is life-changing. And so it's actually invaluable. So,
Yes.
but I think a lot of times we as women get tripped up because we don't think what we have to offer is maybe worthy or worth that high dollar amount.
And yet they're getting you,
Yeah.
they're not just getting a book or something. They're actually getting you physically too.
Exactly.
That's like priceless.
Yeah.
Well, and if we use ourselves as an example here, right? We are about to shift things to Drinks with the Girls 2.0, like we talk about. And, for a long time, and we've talked about this in the podcast, we're like, oh, we're just going to do this thing and, whatever. And here we go. And it's like 80 countries later, right? And now, as listeners know, we're moving to a different model where everybody's always going to be able to get most of the podcast for free. But we are moving to a model where we can have a membership on Patreon and people can be part of the Drinks with the Girls. And over the next few months, we're going to be talking about what that looks like. But honestly, we had to get to the point where we're like, okay, there's something valuable here that people should be willing to pay for. Like what we are doing is valuable. There are people out there that need us, and we can still serve the women out there who just want to do the free piece. But if we want to move to the next level of what we want to do here, it's okay for us to basically announce that we have value and announce, the kind of support that we need to move things forward. And that's been a big journey for both of us, I think. Would you say, Karen?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, you should be doing that. That's exactly what you should be doing now, because move over, Mel Robbins. Here they come.
Damn! Like the way you talk, Patricia.
Yeah, we need Patricia in our back pocket.
Well, seriously.
Pump us up.
Well, you're that good, seriously. And I
Oh.
say to you both, why not you? Why wouldn't you two be the people that are at the top of the heap? You will have very value, and you're delightful on here also. And see, you didn't go off into any kind of direction today together and come back and say, where were we?
We were pretty disciplined today. I gotta say, we were pretty disciplined today, which is, it happens occasionally.
It's usually when it's just she and I,
then
creating
it's all
havoc
bets
together.
are off, man. And
When we have guests, we try to keep it together, but so we like to end the show with takeaways and some rapid fire. And we haven't really done rapid fire questions in a while, but I would love to, if we could throw some at you, Patricia, would you be up for that? Little hot seat, just questions, just answer whatever comes to the top of your mind.
Oh boy. I think it would be really fun. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Okay. So what is one thing that you are obsessed with right now?
I'm obsessed with getting results for people. I'm obsessed with having a person's face light up and say, I never saw it that way. Thank you. I never saw it that way. Yeah, that is an obsession.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely an injection of adrenaline. Okay. What is one thing you wish women over 50, let's say 50, did more of?
I'd like them to do more questions of themselves and just keep questioning and getting to the root of who they are. Just really giving themselves the time and the space. And I'm saying that because I'm one of the people that didn't even put myself on a calendar before. Now I'm on the calendar, and I get to be with me from 1 to 2, and maybe that's journaling or asking questions or whatever. I never did that in my whole life, but I'm 80 now, so I can do anything I want.
You are not.
Anytime I want.
Stop it.
Oh.
Stop it right now.
Well, okay, I lied. I'm 81.
Damn.
Listeners, if you are not watching, Lisa and our jaws are on the floor right now. I had no
Oh,
idea.
really? Well,
Oh,
I certainly
There's
know I am.
no way. There's no
Mhm.
way. Yeah. None of us have any excuse, for God's sakes.
So that leads me to my next question. What's a belief that you had at 40 that completely changed by 80?
Mm.
Oh, I think we stumped her.
She's thinking. She's
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, that really is a hard one because I really have changed a lot. I guess it's this, and this was the hardest one for me. When I was a very young girl, I was on a radio show and they said, "Tell me what you would ever want on your grave." Now, can you imagine on your tombstone? I'm in like 21 at the time. And I said, "Well, that's kind of a mean thing to ask me." And he said, "Well, that's because you're 20. That's why I can ask you that." And I said, I would say that the most important thing to me are relationships. And so since I've been 40 and now I'm 80, now I know that it's very healthy, nurturing, supportive, and caring relationships. And if you don't have that, and if somebody doesn't make you feel good every time it seems you're around them, it's okay to keep them at arm's length. Now, I mean, I never knew that before. And I just learned this, like, I'm going to say 5 years ago.
It's a process, isn't it? Like what we learn and what we continue to learn as it's like I'm 57 and I had this idea when I was younger that I would automatically get to a certain age, probably in my 50s, and have it all figured out and be like, "Oh, I'm set. I got this.
Yeah, I
Great."
know.
Okay. But it's not true. It's like every year, I feel like every month brings me something new that I'm learning either about myself or the world or my people or whatever.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
always be open to that because that really is a perfect thing in life.
I think I've got one more that I think will mic drop us to the end, but you guys tell me
Okay.
what you think. Okay. If you were to have one piece of advice to listeners listening to this podcast now that you would absolutely want them to walk away from, like the ultimate takeaway, what would that be?
Well, I know that answer because if you don't get help, if you don't find something for yourself to go through, and even if it's a book, I don't care what it is, it can be a book, it can be a podcast, it can be whatever, where it really unfolds you, it questions you, it gets you to really down to the core of who you are, it gets your ingredients, it finds out whatever that is for you. Get into it, run, don't walk into that as fast as you can because it will accelerate your learning about yourself. But you can't, I promise you, you cannot go from zero to any kind of money unless you know yourself. You can't become a leader without knowing yourself. I kind of like to say the thing of if you're really wanting to light up this world and showing your light, you have to be able to pay your lighting bill. You have to be able to pay that. And so get real with the money part also, that it's okay for you to make a ton of money if you choose to, if that's your desire.
That is such a great quote. If you, I might not get it exactly right, but you cannot go from zero to whatever amount of money without knowing yourself.
No.
I love that.
I mean, you might get into a JRE and you might get $15 an hour. You might get 25. I don't know. But I'm just saying, the more you know yourself, the more you can charge. The more you know yourself, the more of a leader you'll be. And the more money you make, the more you can help the world, period.
Well, and that's really this invitation that you've given us tonight, which is just to step fully into yourself. Commit to yourself and who you are and what deep down you can bring to the world, and stop freaking dimming your light and thinking that you're not enough. Like that's the bottom line in terms of what I'm going to take away from all this.
Well, you guys are enough. Enough. You're as good as it gets.
Well, this was a shot in the arm tonight. My goodness. Women are so freaking cool. I swear. I love women.
Yes.
Yep. Same. Thank you so much, Patricia, for bringing your wisdom, for opening some new, I think even for Lisa and myself, like you've shed some light on some different areas that we hadn't even, previously thought of. And I know our listeners are walking away also with some great juicy nuggets that they can hopefully apply to their lives. I'm so appreciative that you were here. And listeners, thank you so much again for joining us. You know that we love you. We appreciate you. Before I really get ahead of myself, Patricia, where can people find you on the interwebs, or if somebody really loves what they heard today and they want to work with you, how can they get to you?
Yeah, I think probably any place on, social at all, but I'm just patriciadrain.com. And so they can reach me there, or I am patricia@patriciadrain.com for my email. Yeah, so that's very easy to get to me.
Are you more
Thank
on
you.
Instagram or Facebook, or where's the best social channel to find you?
Well, I'm on all of them. I took a sabbatical, just a rest. I said, I think I'm going to go away from social media for 2 weeks or something. And that was 3 weeks ago. And it's kind of nice.
Right? Feels good.
Because sometimes you feel like you have to post something.
Totally.
And really, you really shouldn't. It's not necessary.
We will put all of your information in the show notes also for people to easily grab it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, listeners, I hope you found this as valuable as we have. I'm sure you have. And now you know where to find Patricia. So if you want some of that light she's expressing, you can get yours. Anything else we want to say, Karen? Like, share, review, all the things. Stay tuned for Drinks with the Girls 2.0, etc., etc.
Share this with a girlfriend who you know is maybe on the precipice of some kind of a pivot, or maybe looking to start a business but doesn't have the courage, or maybe needs a little side hustle. Send this to her so we can get Drinks with the Girls into the ears of more women. Leave that 5-star review. And with that, I'm going to say cheers.
Cheers.